I have that are strictly my friends.
Comrade, sounds to me like you're not getting any baddies either.
So they can shoot it to me 100%. That just and they sit at home, they chill, they send me screenshots of guys being lame, guys not making plans, guys not like the fact that like you guys start off in red is very alarming. Why would I take her to dinner when she's texting 50 other dudes? Why would I take her to dinner just to make an escort me a bro? If you actually had game, if you actually had game,
Sebastian, is this your TikTok page and is this you?
Getting a manicure just to remember what it feels like to hold hands.
So, the guy who needs to get a manicure to remember how holding hands feels is gonna hit your rest of us have that game and get baddies.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
Sebastian, your services are not required. Dismissed.
and you talk.
Counting on their expertise to end this outbreak.
I love the better like your content would be better if you include men. Go follow male creator men. I'm a woman. I'm going to talk about gender-based violence. We live in a patriarchy, so every single piece of content out there is essentially catered to men. There are thousands of industries catered to men. Most smart things catered to men. You ask me to include my content about feminism is genuinely part of the problem. If you don't like it, go follow someone else.
A few moments later.
Actually listen to us.
Sweetie, didn't you just tell us to go to some other men instead of you? What gives?
I didn't realize that feminism also benefits you. Feminism at its core is about dismantling existing structures that harm women. Also, on the flip side, it's about intersectionality. We don't like toxic masculinity. We don't like the fact that, yeah, men can't cry. That you
Shut up.
Oh my. You need us to dismantle a system that you're not strong and independent enough to dismantle yourselves. But sweetie, let's use logic. If what you said is true, and we live in a patriarchy and everything's catered to us, why can I, as a man, help you dismantle that system that favors me? So I can cry like a little girl whenever life gets hard? You're kidding, right?
Stop it.
No. Me and a lot of other men like me actually like the fact that we can control our emotions. It's called emotional intelligence. As for your offer to join feminism, go kick rocks.
do men notice when women are wearing fake eyelashes or have like big boobs or they've got a nose job or their lips done?
Yeah, we do notice.
Or can men just say, oh my god, she's really pretty?
Nah. If a woman had that much work done, a lot of us won't be saying she's so pretty. Some of us are gonna be like,
What's that? What's that, brother?
well, some of us are gonna be like,
I fuck it.
you fucking with it. And that's about it.
That's about it.
Panic is growing amongst the average American, both rich and poor, interestingly enough, about the economy. Different situations, different levels of risk, of course. But if you are in a situation where you feel that your wallet is getting thinner, or that it's going to, or you're worried and you're starting to discuss spending habits, you are very much not alone. This is what is happening in the economy of the United States today. We are not in a recession. Recessions have a specific definition. We have not. We're not even close to reaching that yet because it requires GDP numbers, and we don't even have GDP numbers before yet, or do certainly. We're not going to have Q1 numbers. No, I think before GDP comes out soon, we're not going to have Q1 numbers. But we are not in a recession. But there's declining consumer confidence. Consumer spending has collapsed across all income levels. And Donald Trump is not even denying that his policies might tank the economy. He says it'll be for the greater good. His Biden state will be only a transition. Peter Navarro said it's sometimes the pain you have to endure to go from failing Bidenomics to successful Trumponomics or Trumponomics or whatever. So let's look at what we know, what's true, and what is sort of like a maybe. It is true that Americans are cutting back on everything. Americans are being more careful on groceries, gas, and fast food. Wealthier individuals are being careful with luxury goods because people either don't have the money or are worried that they soon will. We saw consumer spending drop by the largest single month margin between January and February.
Some things
Fox,
never change.
Walmart, Costco, Target have seen customers type spending, average ticket values, different metrics that they track. Fast food sales are down, much to Robert F. Kennedy's chagrin. Luxury spending also down almost 10% in February alone. And it's not about boo-hoo, people can't get their Rolex watches. It's that 10% is a significant chunk to see a decline in a single month. And again, this is affecting people across income ranges. Everybody's pulling back, and it's not about, oh, we feel bad for the people who might only be able to afford one yacht instead of two. No, it's simply when spending goes down at the broadest economic level, you use demand-side stimulus. The people who work at the companies at which less money is being spent now have jobs that they themselves have to worry about, and it does trickle down. You know, the tax cuts for the rich don't seem to trickle down. When spending declines, that does trickle down. We then compare it. Trump's trade deal is back in the surface. Businesses are warning things are going to start costing more. We are seeing some early indicators installing wages. Low-income workers had that temporary boost after COVID. The earnings have now fallen behind the rich again in terms of wages. Savings is starting to dry up. Bank balances are shrinking. Debt climbing pandemic levels and beyond. And as we've talked about, we see, we already talked about Delta, already seeing JetBlue and American Airlines, seeing fewer people booking flights.
So how quickly do things go downhill from here? Stop asking that. People in chat, you ask rhetorical questions. So is this the vote to continue funding the government? Mr. Merkley, no. The results of this vote guarantee the passing of the blank check funding bill to Donald Trump. It is effectively a vote for funding Trump's actions and legitimizing them. Everyone wanted them to reject this. It was Schumer who led the charge in favor of being blatantly dishonest throughout. I like how Schumer pretended Republicans wanted a government shutdown, yet everyone on Twitter is celebrating on it. Yeah, Schumer's like, oh, that's why Republicans want a government shutdown. Meanwhile, every Democrat in the House voted against this bill.
No.
Every Republican voted yes. The Republicans here voted yes, and Trump congratulated Schumer on switching sides and supporting the bill. Meanwhile, Schumer is trying to convince you he's actually defeating the Republicans by voting for the Trump bill that all the Republicans voted for. It's so blatant. The corruption is so blatant. He just thinks everyone is stupid. Yeah, he hates you. He despises you. His job is to be an envoy for Wall Street. Your vote
On this vote, the yeas are 62,
Yeah.
the nays are 38. 3/5 of the senators duly chosen and sworn have voted in the affirmative. The motion is agreed to.
Mr. President, we've already locked in 10-minute
Majority Leader.
We've already locked in 10-minute vote for the balance of the number of votes, but people stay here in their seats to execute that lockup.
The rest of this literally doesn't matter. It's a bunch of amendment votes that have 0% chance of passing, and then you have the actual budget vote, which requires only a simple majority, not 60 votes, but 50. Peter's response to voting: I can't engage with Peter's logic or Schumer's logic or anything like that, because I'm just going to say regrettable things. There's nothing else to say. There's no point in watching any of this. The Democrats have signed the country with Trump. They chose to willingly for no reason. Well, there was a reason. It's because Schumer and many of the Senate Democrats are allegiant to Wall Street. That's it. There's no other reason. Everyone wanted them to reject it in favor of a shutdown. The House condemned it, Pelosi condemned it, Jeffries condemned it, The current and former DNC chairs condemned it. Everyone condemned it. Schumer alone, to the support of the Republicans and Donald Trump, supported it and whipped enough votes to do so. Peters is also going to retire because they don't care. Summing up the votes necessary to win their seat is just it's a passive secondary concern for them. They don't serve you. For us, what do you want? It's done.
Misnamed Inflation Reduction Act went to fund untargeted and heavily handed enforcement improvement. As I mentioned at the time, the last thing hardworking Americans need is an IRS funding bloat.
It's over. Mute this shit, shut the shit. Yeah. Who cares? It's over. The party is dead. It's a collaboration party. There's nothing else. There's no, like, the only meaningful analysis that you can get out of this, like, you have to, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing that you can say except, like, this is what happens when the Democrats are controlled by the same corporate interests as the Republicans. You had an opportunity to do something so necessary and so overwhelmingly obvious that essentially that all the Democrats in the House, everyone, former and current DNC Chair Pelosi, Jeffries, everyone, and it still wasn't enough because of the minor lever of power, the little wedge the Democrats enjoy, the ability they have. Enough people seated it. Even Gavin Newsom demanded they would know. Everyone is primarying them no longer viable. I just don't see how it matters, really. That's on the far side of a very long road. Total DNC boycott. I mean, it's not even like a DNC. Like, there's a political theory or like an argument, I guess, an idea called like the revolving door villain, rotating villain, whatever. Whatever the specific term is, it essentially says like the Democrats. Usually the Democrats will always find just enough turncoats just enough bad guys to do the bad thing that the party as a whole is against. No, I'm not cynical enough to believe that all of the Democrats in the House and Senate were only willing to appear that they voted against this because they knew the Senate that Schumer would whip up just enough votes for yes. I don't think that's true. I think that people have legitimately for Schumer, and I think that theory is both deserved and also understood. But it goes so far beyond. Why are Republicans always able to muster the unity within the party that they do? Even though they're more divisive by their nature, why can they do it? Because they're not fighting against another fundamental interest. Being in and supporting corporate interests to them are the same interests. Their ideology allows for a synthesis between these two. Whereas the Democrats can't meaningfully oppose this because as long as capital is on the side of Republicans, Democrats have to do what they say. At least enough Democrats. Joe Stein voters were right about what the Democrats being collaborationists. I mean, it takes one to know one. It's like, that's very much like vote Joe Stein to have even more immediate and direct.
Canada officially has a new prime minister. While there are questions surrounding how long Mark Carney will be leader before a federal election is called, arriving at Rideau Hall this morning, he pledged to get straight to work. Carney was sworn in alongside his cabinet picks, and unlike his predecessor, who held a 36-person cabinet, Carney's list includes just 23 ministers. In a statement from the prime minister's office, he referred to it as a new, leaner, and focused group. Tessa Bennett joins us in studio with more. Tessa, what are the most significant swaps Carney has made?
Melissa, many familiar faces will remain in their positions under Carney's leadership, including Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly and International Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc. But some shuffles were made, and his main leadership rival is taking a new spot.
Canada's new government is changing how we work, so we can deliver better results faster to all Canadians. We have new ministers with new ideas, ready to respond to new threats and to seize new opportunities.
While former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau made the resignation he first announced in January official today, Liberal leader Mark Carney swore the oaths of office and allegiance and has presented to the Governor General his new, much smaller cabinet.
Mr. Carney obviously wants to make a change and signal discontinuity between him and Trudeau. However, there's a limited number of time, and he wants to retain skills within his cabinet.
Carney, who is in the unusual position of becoming Prime Minister without holding a seat in Parliament, made quick work of shuffling cabinet members in and out with a focus on action as Canada faces questions about its sovereignty from President Donald Trump's administration.
In any way, shape, or form, part of the United States. And what you can see from this government is focusing on building with different partners abroad. And that will reinforce the point. It's good. We're doing it for our own reasons, to be clear.
The first member to be sworn into the cabinet was Dominic LeBlanc, who will be maintaining his status as Minister of Trade and Intergovernmental Affairs. He had taken up former Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland's post in the interim, but that had been reassigned. Francois-Philippe Champagne has been moved into the vacant finance role, leaving his prior role as Minister of Innovation, Science and Industry open.
So the Elon Musk, Donald Trump clown show continues, and Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, is like, hey, hold on here. I want to be clown number one. And I want it.
Exactly what you heard President Trump say today. What are you doing for us? I know what we're doing for you, but what are you doing for us? And I think that's it. The way to look at it, that's our president's way of working at it, and that's what you should expect.
But what are you doing for us? I guess that's the subject of today's video. Honestly, we have to go over this stuff because the dialogue and discussion in the USA has gotten so dumbed down. I wonder if we're at like peak idiocracy, because the stuff that they're saying, the stuff they're proposing doesn't add up, and they have to keep perpetuating these lies and nonsense to keep this complete charade going. But people are ultimately going to catch on to. But I thought this one was fascinating. Fox News is supportive of the Republican Party, Musk and Trump, this kind of stuff. They're even starting to question it because there are many facets to how this thing works. Because Republicans also like to say, we're going to support big business, this kind of stuff. We're just going to do things here and be like, the math doesn't make sense. You got to call it out. So you'll see what I'm saying. They're promising at the moment. $150,000 or less income. I guess they're going to pay no taxes. You'll see what I mean.
Just to be clear on this, you say that we have no taxes for people under $150,000. So you're saying that could happen in the next 2 years. So I'm just looking at the numbers here. At the bottom, 90% of the U.S. tax base is people under $150,000. That's the way they lay it out.
Right, so they even threw up a graphic on the screen. And credit to Fox News, at least they're saying something about this. And I think the reporters something you'll find a lot on TV. Is a lot of people are not stupid. They're just kind of instructing you to say well, questions. That's sort of the challenge that we face in today's media environment. Is that challenge particular competition or whatever, they won't come back on your show, and then that's okay. So that's not one. So I guess you could argue one of the big problems that we have right now is politicians, cabinet members, are cowards, basically, right? They don't want to go and face real questions. They just want supportive audiences, supportive reporters. And so then reporters have choices. Well, gee, do I not get interviewed at all? Or do I let them on and not question them? So here, to credit the Fox News, at least they do the question a bit, right? They don't take after not make sense. How much to an answer, though?
That is $531 billion in federal taxes. That's a quarter of all federal tax revenue. So you're saying in 2 years, we'll be in a position where people who make under $150K will pay no taxes in America?
Well, this is aspirational. I went in a balanced budget. That is a movie. that the president has on his mind and that he has discussed. Balance the budget, and then let's take care of all of the people, like you said, the 90% of Americans who are 150,000 or less. That's why they elected Donald Trump. That's why you've got Elon Musk in.
And then she just doesn't question, right? So this is sort of that illustrates the problem that we have right now. One is, so for example, if Howard Levin came on, my channel and talked about it, I would question him. I would get real answers from the guy and call him out and be like, yo, come on, man, let's be real. But they wouldn't come up with it. They don't want to be questioned. So I'm saying this is sort of the landscape that we're in right now. They only go to different channels and resources. And I want to make most of it. There's a lot of news channels out there that talk about a lot of these things. Be it on the left side, the Democratic side. But many of those channels are so ingrained into the party that they don't question either. And it's hard to get good information out there. So I just wanted to mention it's not just about talking all of this. We talk about MSNBC, we want to mention that as well, right?
Honestly, what the fuck is this? Holy great! Can your PhD brain explain this?
It has been confirmed from multiple interviews that Trump has done recently in March of 2025 that he is planning on crashing the stock market. And he said it in multiple different ways, but not directly. And the reason why he's doing this is because of two main reasons, which I'm going to show you the alarming data here in a second. First and foremost, he said that any short-term pain won't be worth it to bring manufacturing back to the country, that he is not even looking at the market, because long-term, the United States will be very strong for what he is doing. So he's saying that short-term, yes, there's going to be pain, but long-term, he's doing these things in order for the United States to have a stronger foundation. He also said that it's going to take an adjustment period for on Wall Street, aka people that are involved in the stock market. It's going to be an adjustment period because the market was just straight up and to the right for the longest time, and now he's saying that the adjustment is likely going to bring equities down. And the reason why he won't say it directly is, number one, to not make the markets completely panic. But it is so obvious that this is why he's doing it, is multiple things. One, he's had arguments, or at least stated several times, that Jerome Powell needs to bring interest rates down. He's been saying that for about 6 months, even before he was in office. And he's been saying that because the economy desperately needs lower rates so that people can borrow more money, and then people can invest and do business and spend more money, which will help the overall economic climate. But Jerome Powell is keeping interest rates high because it is sitting, our inflation rate is still sitting right at 3%, which is 1% above the target inflation rate. But Trump knows that this is coming due right here, which is $7 trillion in debt is coming due over the next 6 months. $7 trillion. And if you look at this chart, that is ginormous. The fact that Trump knows there's $7 trillion in debt that's coming due. And again, he has compared this to 1929, the Great Depression, because he was stepping into this situation that the previous administration, he
thinks potentially purposely put him in, where he now has to refinance $7 trillion at really high interest rates. It'd be very tough for the overall U.S. government and probably throw us into even more debt. So now he's sitting at a mouthful of debt, and he's fighting this before he even came in as the president. And on December 29th of 2024, he's saying that, hey, this could be the next Great Depression because of what I'm stepping into. And what he's mentioning is this $7 trillion in debt that is coming due. So now, why would he want interest rates to go down? Because, well, first of all, how would interest rates go down? If he puts pressure on Jerome Powell to decrease rates, and he's still not doing it, what will get Jerome Powell to decrease rates is if the stock market starts to decline. So he is purposely saying, hey, the stock market's going to feel some pain. I'm going to shake up the things around the world with all these tariffs and do what I think is necessary to set the country in a good foot in the next few years. But short term, you're probably going to see some pain. That pain is not going to be alleviated until we bring down interest rates, because he knows he's got to refinance this debt, this $7 trillion. So what is he doing? He wants to crash the market so that Jerome Powell says, oh man, the markets are way down. I need to bring interest rates down to stimulate the economy, to make sure there's not that much pain. And that is what he's going to do, is do all of these things that he thinks is probably good for the U.S. economy long term, but short term, it's really going to shake things up. It's going to create fear in the markets. It's going to bring the stock market down, which would incentivize Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve to bring interest rates down so that he can issue more bonds, likely a 10-year bond, and refinance all of the debt that is coming due this year, and at lower interest rates. Because if he's refinancing at a really high interest rate, that could be tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars over the 10-year note. So that is what is happening right now. And if you look at historically where the bond market is relative to stocks, it has been held ground on one of the worst bear markets the bond market has ever seen. Now look at this discrepancy of where bonds are. So bond prices are in the blue, the stock market is in the red right here. You've never seen this much divergence before, where the equity market went this far up and the bond market came down into the worst bear market that it's seen in a very, very, very long time. And now we're kind of forming a technical pattern, which I'll talk about in another video, but just look how much divergence in the price that we're seeing. Stocks at way, way, way all-time highs, bonds at practically all-time lows. And what we're looking at is TLT, which is a bond index, and then the S&P 500 in the red. So what he wants is he wants interest rates to come down. So if there's a recessionary scare, which you know that we have talked about recently, the Fed has actually put out a new piece of data where they are now projecting that the GDP is going to grow or go down from 2%, above 2%, to almost negative 3%. So they're saying, yes, there is a recession likely coming, because now we're changing our projections of GDP by 5%, which is a drastic change. So what happens? Bonds do well when there's a recessionary scare, there's fear in the markets, and when investors feel like equities are overvalued and they want a flight to safety. So when they want a flight to safety, when there's fear in the market, when the market's going risk off, when investors want a yield, they want to be paid a dividend instead of just holding an equity and hoping for appreciation, guess what they do? They sell equities and they buy more bonds. So this could be set up as one of the top trades of this year, simply because of all the things that are happening with Mr. DJT and the Federal Reserve.
The stock market is over. You should get out before Trump triggers a full-blown recession. That's what the mainstream media want you to think. Headlines are screaming disaster. Social media is a frenzy. And everyone is asking the same question. Should I sell now before it gets worse? But there's no this that meets the eye. If you followed me for a while, you know I'm a serious investor who's obsessed with the stock market. And since so many of you have started investing because of my videos, I feel a responsibility to give you my honest take on the situation. So before you panic, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture together. Every market crash has a cause, and this one isn't random. There are three main triggers behind it, and all of them tie back to one man, Donald Trump. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, this isn't about politics. I'm not here to take sides, and as a British investor looking in, my only concern is how this impacts investors like you and me. So let's break down the three biggest triggers behind this crash, why they